We are your home theater and AV questions answered. This is AVRant. Want your home theater or AV question answered by Tom and Rob? Send it to question@avrant.com. Welcome to AVRant. I'm Tom Andry, and I'm here with
Rob H.
Greg. Greg is finally getting a dedicated theater room, so it's time to upgrade some gear. The room is 14 by 22 feet. He'll continue to use his Marantz SR5009, KEF Q500 Towers and Q200 Center, and dual PB1000 subs. Unfortunately, he's going to have to use in-walls for the surrounds. Do we have any thoughts on the Monoprice Caliber Series 8-inch in-walls? You've got
Why
KEFs.
the 8-inch ones specifically?
I don't know. Why you've got KEFs? Why don't you just get KEF in-walls?
Because they're more expensive.
Don't they sell those accessories for less too?
I don't know if they sell the in-walls. I mean, there's definitely KEF Direct. Yeah, there's definitely KEF Direct. Now, all of the speakers that he have use 5 1/4 inch drivers. They have 5 1/4 inch driver in-walls. So like their CS130s. If you go from KEF Direct now, they are not super cheap. What are they? $200 each, I think, for the 5 1/4 inch models in the CS installation series. So yeah, $200 each if you're going directly from KEF. So yeah, not inexpensive. Now I haven't heard the Monoprice in-walls. I don't know if they're great or terrible or what. What I don't understand is why you'd be going for the 8-inch one.
Yeah,
they have a 6.5-inch one.
Yeah.
An 8-inch one is going to be more directional, which is less desirable for a surround speaker. So to me, that's the weird choice. Now, if you just said I want to get a Monoprice 6.5-inch, I'd be like, okay. But I don't know. I wish I could tell you for certain. I somewhat doubt it's going to match a KEF in timbre, but then they're surround speakers, so how much do we care? It's a little bit tough.
Yeah.
A little bit tricky.
All right. Accessories for Less does not sell in-walls from KEF. They do sell in-walls from Boston Acoustics and MTX. And there's a Yamaha one that has a dual 6.5-inch in-wall. $60.
Right.
That's really cheap.
So, I mean, we were just talking about RBH for in-walls, but they're not inexpensive either.
No.
They're not, they're not super expensive, but they're not inexpensive. They're certainly not Monoprice inexpensive.
Right.
So yeah, well, let's see. How much are the Aperions? That's what we need to look up here.
All right, you looked. I already looked at the other one.
I'll try to look that up. Yeah, the Aperion in-walls.
So a lot of times, whenever you're, I very rarely say this, but when you're trying to get speakers to match each other, a lot of times I'll look at the driver size and say, not tweeter so much as woofer, and if you've got a bookshelf that's got a 6.5-inch, and there's another one in another line or from a different manufacturer, a lot of times I'll try to match the size of the woofer. So I don't necessarily think it's definitively going to make that much of a difference, but I think what it does is design wise, you design for a 6.5-inch driver different than you design for an 8-inch driver, different than you design for a 4-inch driver. So that can be that's just sort of my rule of thumb. Whether or not that actually plays out as making a real big difference. So what did you find?
Yeah, the Aperion in-walls are $300 for a pair, so it's $100 less expensive for a pair than the KEFs. But certainly still more, like $200 more expensive than the Monoprices. So,
well, just get the smaller ones from the Monoprice. I mean, these things are just in-walls.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit tougher when it's in-walls because you can't really tell until they're installed.
Yeah.
And then trying to return them after they've been installed, I don't know how easy that is. Golly.
I mean, I think if you're willing to rip them out of your wall, they'll probably be willing to take them back. But
wait for the ELACs? I don't know. The ELACs are coming out. I'm sorry, that's a tricky one.
Yeah. For an amp,
but I would say don't get the 8-inch.
Don't get the 8-inch, yes. Save up and get the KEFs. Yeah, I really think that's the answer. The answer is to save up and get the KEFs.
Well, we know that'll be safe as far as sounding
I think sounding good and matching your other speakers, that's the way to go, I think.
They have a nice backer box, too.
Yeah. For an amp, he's debated between buying the Emotiva A700 and the Monolith 7x200. Is the Monolith worth the extra $900? Wait a second.
Not in your room size.
What? How big is this room again? 14 by 22. Why are you buying an amp?
Atmos?
Yeah, but he's buying a 7-channel amp.
Yeah, but then he's No, he's keeping his Marantz SR5009, so that's not doing Atmos. He just wants an amp.
You can just want an amp, and I'm okay with that. But
absolutely, you don't need the monolith. You definitely don't need the monolith. I mean, if you get the monolith, I'm going to say you got a fantastic amp. It's an ATI amp. It's wonderful. You don't need it.
I can't imagine a situation where you need an amp in this room. I can't fathom it. So can you save the money for the amp and just buy the KEFs? Can we do that?
There you go.
Can we do that?
Easily, that would pay
because
for
you can buy because you do not need an amp. This will make I would say, no audible difference.
If it is, it'll be very slight.
Be like let's be generous. You will see an increase of performance by around 2%. I think that's generous.
I wouldn't put that number on it, but yeah, if there's any difference you can hear at all, it'll be tiny.
Which is 2%. There we go.
Okay.
So it's going to be someplace between 0 and 2. Or you can get the speakers that'll sound really good as your surrounds. You decide. Which one do you think will give you more performance?
The monolith is not going to sound $900 better.
It's not going to sound $900,000 better. It's not going to sound 9 cents better. It's not going to sound any better. It's going to sound exactly the same as what you currently own in your Marantz.
That is not to say there is never a situation where it would be a very appropriate choice.
We have talked about this before, yes.
Not Greg's situation.
Not Greg.
Specifically.
That's okay. All right. Want your question answered? Send it to question@avrant.com. This is AVRant.
Now go out and listen to something.